Okay.
All right. Well, you can, if you you keep asking question, and if I kind of was not for sure how should I answer, you can retake it.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what's cool is that he's gonna do his thing. What's cool is that it's just so we'll just talk and it'll look great and everything.
Okay.
Okay. So I haven't heard. Well, maybe I did ask you the other day, but how did you know, you're a pastor now, right? How did that happen? What's the backstory leading up to that? Just how you grew up, even becoming a Christian, getting called to ministry, being in the States, all of that. Why don't you share?
Yeah, I grew up in a typical Japanese non-Christian home, Buddhist home. So that means that when I visit my grandparents' house, one of the things that you have to do is go into the shrine room and give incense and homage to your ancestors. So I grew up not having any doubt that there's non-Buddhist in Japan. So I was very surprised when I found out that one of my closest friends in high school was a Christian. So I started to talk to her and found out that she was really Christian and thought it was like believing the fantasy story. I felt like I need to do something to save her. So I started to go to her and talk to her and bring in some science textbook from elementary time and try to kind of convince her it's not what she's believing, it's just a fantasy. But then I soon realized that I was the one who need to read something that is Bible because I never read the Bible to convince her something that the Bible was not true. I need to read the Bible first. So that was my first encounter. I read through the Bible because I respected her. So that is why I kind of wanted her not to become, stop being a Christian. So, but it was just 3 months. I read Old New Testament. It was very, very, very surprising experience. I never read the Bible before in my life. Most of the story would sound like kids' Sunday school stories. Never really like that to me. It's very amazing stories, and I was very shocked that Jesus Himself came as God and the Savior. And so, and more than that, what touched my heart was His real love, and the sense that every human being, including me, created in God's image, has a purpose in this life, which I never thought that I had. I thought I was a very happy boy, but I was not. I realized only by reading the Bible, and God really touched my heart and changed my life. And so, 6 months after I started to talk to her, I became Christian. I gave my life to my Lord, and actually the adventure started. That was about high school time. Graduated college then, and I really wanted to do some ministry, but in Japan it's hard to do ministry. There's no position in the church as assistant pastor, youth pastor, no such positions in church. A lot of churches, 70% of Japanese churches are less than 20 members. They are still struggling. Most of them don't have enough funds to support their own pastor yet. So I thought I need to do some kind of job to feed myself and do tent making type work. But when I was pursuing that work, a missionary came. So it was an MTW missionary came to me and said that he wanted to do college ministry attached to a church, and he is looking for Japanese staff, and if I'm interested in doing that. And I said no, because I was in the law school, so I thought that law, becoming an attorney, give me money and time. That was kind of my very immature calculation. But so I said no one time, but then start to having really hard time sleeping at night. Every time I have a free time, I start coming back to the thought, was that right move or not? And 2 weeks later, I said to God, Lord, if this is from you, and actually doing mission is a full-time, sounds like it's a dream job. Why not? And if it's still your vision for me, I'd like to take it. And I went to him and said, I know that you have a lot of Japanese people whom you kind of invited to the ministry. Is it still open, available for me? And he said, yes, it is. And so I quit my path and start to doing ministry with him. So that was 7 years college ministry, and that was a great experience. It was a good experience. Also, it was good because it was hard. I thought I'm going to have a lot of people coming to know Christ from the day one. It didn't happen that way. First year probably 0, second year 1, third year 0, fourth year 10. Wow. I thought it would be like a 20 and 40 and 80. The next year was 0 again. So it was very hard to take. But through all of that, I was keep asking myself, is it worth spending my whole life? Is it worth spending my whole life? And eventually, at the end of the 7th year, the answer that I got from God was, yes, it is worthwhile. Maybe the ministry is not something that fancy as you expected, but it's worth trying. And he said, I spent my blood and my life for that. And it just really touched my heart. And even if it's hard, even if it doesn't turn out as I expected, it's always worth trying. So I went to Covenant Seminary, and it was a good experience. Just got to expand my vision for church planting and for the kingdom work throughout the world. If you go to Covenant Seminary, if you go to seminary, a lot of seminary students does, but I did the same thing. I want to be a kind of blank white canvas page. I don't want to stick in Japan because God's kingdom is global wide. I want to be open for any kind of options. But at the end of my years in seminary, God kept saying, Japan is the place that you have to go. So that's why kind of. Did I answer too long?
No, it's great.
No?
It's great. Tell me about, so I
Need water.
Can I have some water?
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you grab one?
Yeah.
Can you grab me one too?
Yep.
Do you want to wait on the water, or?
I think so.
Okay.